Om Nilambujashyamalkomalangam Sita Samaropitavamabhagam Panau Maha Sayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, who is very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he's carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. In Ramcharitmanas, well known as the Ramayana, Balakanda, verse number 83 onwards. The topic here is we are following the mystic story of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva and Uma. Uma also is known as Parvati. Parvati Devi is practicing intense austerity for marrying Shiva. And her austerities have been successful. And she has received the blessings of great sages, Saptarshis. But now there comes another problem. Shiva is immersed in Samadhi to awaken Shiva. And I have explained to you subtler point. The spiritual movement is a blend of Prakriti and Purusha. The divine movement takes two aspects. Purusha aspect is Shiva. This soul is striving for liberation. Prakriti aspect providing you with proper nervous system, proper mind, proper intellect. The Prakriti movement rises to a state of Viveka Buddhi, represented by Parvati. And the spirit movement rises to Shiva, represented by Shiva himself. These two must become wedded. Again, allegorical. When the two join together, there is no duality. But following the storyline, when they join together, they have a big divine mission. Tarakasur, the demon that doesn't allow the soul to cross over the world process. That demon is Tarakasur. That Tarakasur has to be destroyed. But who will destroy Tarakasur? Son of Shiva and Parvati. So you have allowed spirit movement to rise. And another mystical way, spirit movement is a matter of revelation. It's called avataran. You are coming down, the sun comes down through veils and nature rises up. So there is a mystical process of descent of the divine with reality, an ascent of nature. The descent and ascent bring about success in your sadhana and ultimately lead you to the highest goal. But that I have given you for a very profound point. Now, following this story, Shiva being in deep samadhi, gods have their project of awakening desire in his mind, Kama. And only when there is desire, he will marry. That's simple reality of the world. If husband and wife has no desire in their heart, don't marry. the marriage process is a scriptural path of righteousness to recognize that desire has a purpose. So marry in a righteous way and live in a dignified grihastha life. That becomes for the masses the great teaching. But when you have to destroy ignorance deep within yourself, now you have Shiva within you has to marry Parvati. And in order to marry Parvati, desire has to be burned up, or it has to be transformed. So that burning up of desire is being brought out in this story. The role of Kama. Kama controlled, then it brings about the lives of ideal men and women who follow Grihastha path, and they are able to do immense good to humanity. 5 debts are paid by the soul by living a righteous life. Everyone is born indebted. They were in debt to be paid to God. Rishi in debt to be paid to sages and saints. To God who paid the debt by surrender, by following the path of devotion. To sages and saints by following the teachings of the scriptures. Debt to be paid to Pitris, forefathers. All forefathers have their expectations. And that by utilizing your potentiality in the best way. In other words, if you follow the path of devotion, if you follow the path of enlightenment, path of reaching God, then all those departed souls, forefathers, in a very allegorical way, they describe they are lingering in the heavenly world, waiting for the news. In their line, if anyone has done something immensely good, they dance. So that way you are paying your debt to forefathers. When you are paying your debt to human beings, you are extremely indebted in every step by being good and doing good. The debt you can be paid only through 2 fingers. Be good, do good. Beyond limit. Do good, don't ask yourself how much. And be good, how much. And then debt to be paid to all animals, birds, all creatures of the world. So that is the duty of a grihastha. And each time you eat food, there is a orthodox tradition, some food is brought out of the plate, offering them to these 5 factors. But once you have come to a higher stage of attaining liberation, the karma in you has been well utilized, and now it is becoming transformed into a spiritual aspiration. So this stage of understanding the role of karma that is not under control, what does it do to humanity? And karma well under control, then what does it do to saints and sages? Suran kahi nij bipati sab, suni man keen vichar, Shambhu virodhan kushala bihasika heu asamar. The story is highly allegorical. Shiva has to be awakened. Gods tell Kama, the deity of desire. Another word for Kama is Mar. Mar term is well known in India. Mar. It's someone. Marna. From Mar. Mar also is close to Maran. Maran is death. When Kama hits a person, death becomes your reality. You don't wait until you die. But death becomes your reality day by day. You live in fear. And mind becomes so dull that it cannot develop the idea, let me put an end to the cycle of birth and death. The dull-wit mind simply wants to resolve the problems of this life and slip into another life with unknown problems and switch to another, and that goes on. So you are constantly led by Mara, whipped again and again. But the same Mara turn around Rama. Tusidas is a style that instead of reciting the name Mara, Mara, recite the name Rama, Rama. Make a change in your mind. Instead of filling the mind with constant involvement with Kama, now be constantly involved with Rama. Kama movement has its rati, its enjoyment. But that enjoyment is Vishaya rati, and its purpose has two aspects. If under control, then it's doing good service to humanity. If not under control, it's creating all terrible, terroristic personalities in the world. And sublimating that Kama is called Brahmacharya Vrata, the vow of shifting your desire from lustful passion to a state where passion is transmuted into spiritual aspiration. The enjoyment is in both. One type of enjoyment is drowning you into the world. Another, it allowing you to soar. You fall in love or you soar in love. So the gods requested, offered prayers to Kama that do something to arouse desire in the heart of Shiva. And Kama, being well aware that that will be the end of him, if he were to arouse Kama in Shiva, because he was aware of Shiva's third eye. However, when God offered prayers to Kama, Kama said, I will do what you asked me to do. This is the teaching of the scriptures. One must do good to others. Parahitila dijatajayijo dehi santata santa prasansahitehi. He who abandons his body, he who allows his body to drop, while involved in doing good to others, Such a person is well praised by saints and sages. As kahi chaleu sabahi siru nai, suman dhanush kar sahit sahai. Chalat mara as hriday vichara, Shiva virodha dhruva maranu hamara. Thus saying, having bowed down to gods, Kama, the god of desire, placing his bow and arrows in his hand, and bows and arrows. Arrows I have already explained to you in a symbolic, allegorical language. White lotus, Ashoka flowers, mango blossoms, jasmine flowers, blue lotus. These are the 5 big highlighted points of nature's beauty. This is just to give you a highlighted aspect. The beauty of nature, if the mind is not under profound control, you live for arousing your karma, which I have already explained. It is not all bad. It is much good, much bad, both aspects. And the world arouses that karma. And there's nothing wrong in it. But if you have turned your attention to attaining liberation, the world should arouse devotion in your heart. All the beautiful things you see, they should be seen as Vibhuti Yoga, God's glory manifesting in all. And his bow relates to seasons, especially the spring season. And any season that has fascinating influence on human mind. All those are his bows. And all those are the arrows that I have described. Kama moved on, sure in his heart that that will be his end. That's the storyline that happens in every individual who attains that level of Brahmacharya. The karma must come to an end when aspiration begins to develop. Tab apan prabhav vistara, nij bas kin sakal sansara. Even before I go on moving, must realize by highlighting karma, you are highlighting malas. Because karma belongs to the group of malas. And when one of the vices have been highlighted, then the entire group is highlighted. It's called upalakshana. Go to that group that has an umbrella in hand. So, the group may have 5 or 6 people. One of them has umbrella. But go to the umbrella group. It's called upalakshana. So, the goal before you become nirmal. Sublimate all your malas. Now, a highlighted point, sublimate calm. Kama then began to exercise his immense power. The whole world became overpowered by his expression of energy. Kama, whose chariot is well known for fish mark. His flag has a fish on it. It's a fishy talk. Fish symbolizes distractions of the mind. Fish is a yogi, constantly practices thought, never closes the eyes. But all its vigilance and open eyes are for extremely petty things. So that Kama, with that flag of fish, expressed his strength. Within a moment, all Vedic control was thrown away. The Vedas are called Shastra. They provide three types of control. Control of your thoughts, your words, and your action. Some sannyasis hold a three-pronged stick in their hand. They're called tridandis, symbolizing they have the vow of controlling the thought, word, and deed. So that control is completely out. The example is all the TV shows. No one knows what to say. And truth becomes so confused. No one knows what is the truth. Everyone has their own view. Brahmacharya brata sanjama nana, dhiraj dharma jnana vijnana, sadachara japa yoga viraga, sabhay viveka kataku sabhay bhaga. The effect of mala, try to understand. The greatest help that can be given to humanity is enabling them to understand how to lead the mind to nirmal state, mind that is devoid of impurities. Now the impurities are being described. What happens? The rules, righteous rules in life. And what are they? Practice of Brahmacharya, control of sex energy and directing it the right way and ultimately sublimating it. That's Brahmacharya. Niyama, Shauch, Santosh, Satsanga, Vicha. Shauch, Santosh, Satsang, and surrender to God, Ishwar Pranidhan. All these are niyamas. Niyamas are called observances. And various types of controlling the mind and senses, they are called sanjama. The qualities of dhiraj, patience, dharma, pursuit of virtue, jnana, pursuit of knowledge, vijnana, movement towards intuitional knowledge, sadachar, righteous conduct, japa, recitation or repetition of mantras, yoga, various practices of yoga sadhana, vairagya, dispassion, and all that leads to develop viveka. All these are divine forces. And these divine forces, when they saw Kama coming on his chariot with 5 types of arrows, with seasons for his bows, they all ran. And there is abundance of that type of mentation a mind filled with malas, then all these good things that humanity can prosper in a profound way, all those good things turn away. Bhagyaus viveku sahaya sahit so subhat sansanjuga mahimure sadgrantha parvat kandaranimahu jai tahi avasur dure पुनिहार का करतार को रखवार जग खर भरुबा तरा दुई माथ कही रतिनाथ जही कहूं कोपी कर धनु सर सरुधरा. Viveka, which is the highest attainment in your virtuous movement, that Viveka ran away. That means Sanamati, good understanding, doesn't guide people. And Sadgrantha, the spiritual teachings, they hid in the caves of the mountains, on Bhojapatras. I'm joking. The majority of people, scriptures mean writings on the old style leaves. So you need to get to the scriptural writing. It used to be a terrible discipline. But that's move away from the joke. The idea is you may have all the scriptures. Most people keep the best of scriptures in their puja room. But that's it. They never open it. The scriptures are worship. And that means you are allowing the Kama to win. All great teachings, they become ineffective. Because the scriptures, you can read them and find nothing to be inspired with. Read the Gita, and Gita starts with a big battlefield, and your mind turns away from it. And people fell from their righteous conduct. A tremendous chaos developed in the world. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. The harmony in society is based on pursuit of dharma. If lot of people pursue dharma, there is a culture builds up which is divine culture, uplifting. And whenever, that again there is a cosmic law, whenever dharma declines, just like whenever there is low pressure, you get a hurricane, a cyclone. In the same way, when humanity begins to be drawn to all tamasic, demoniac things, and a terrible disbalance comes, the divine personalities develop among human beings. Buddha, Shankaracharya, and all the sages and saints that have been in every generation. And among the sages and saints, again, there are times when most powerful divine personalities appear on the earth. They are called avatars. So, when the virtues all ran away and the world was in utter chaos, all turned to Brahma, the creator. Who will help us? Who is the target of Lord Kama, of Kamadeva's arrows? Literally, the statement is, who has two heads that Kama is going to go after? Kama takes away your real head, and another head stays, which is the head of a monkey. Je sajiva jag achar achar nari purusha asanam te nij nij marajadatati phaye sakal basakam. All men and women and all, even creatures, they all moved away from their controlled path, righteous path, and became extremely perverted. Sabke hridaya madana abhilasha lata nihari na vahi tarushaka. The desire entered the heart of all. The term for Kama is another word, Madan. Mad means intoxicating pride. Kama creates inflated ego. And therefore, as I have already said, Kama implies all the malas. Now, the description here is highly romantic description. Even if you see the creeper turning to a tree, the mind is filled with sex delight. Rivers bouncing towards the ocean. In that also you see a passionate movement. Sabke hridaya madana abhilasha latani har navahi tarushaka nadi umagi ambudhi padai sangam karai talab talai. A big pond of water communes with another little pond, ends up creating a big pond. जहां असी दस आप जड़ न कह बरनी को कही सकई सचेतन करनी. All these are jara, inert, and they are so captivated by Kama. What can you expect to happen in relation to those who are not jara, not dullwit, not inert? Pashupachi nabajala talachari bhaye kama bas samay vishari. Animals, birds that fly in the sky, fishes that sport in the water, all came under the influence of Kama. Storylines creating a suspense, but it is a reality. Madana andha vyakul sabaloka nishidanu nahi avalokahi koka dev danuj nar kinnara vyala preta pishacha bhuta betala. All became blinded with lust. Birds, they used to have their certain control of when it is night, when it is day. Now they forgot. Devas, Daityas, gods, demons, human beings, kinnaras, snakes, ghosts, pishachas, devils, all the creatures from highest to the lowest, they came under the influence of Kama. The idea behind it is it's not a history that it came. They are dominated by Kama. But in spite of all that, one who is like Shiva, all this doesn't matter. इनके दशा कहूँ बखानी सदा काम के चेरे जानी सिद्ध विरक्त महामुनि जोगी ते काम बस भये वियोगी. All these are slaves of Kama already. Therefore, Tulsidas says, I have not detailed upon their condition. But even Siddhas, dispassionate ascetics, munis who practice great meditation, and yogis, they came under the influence of Kama. And they began to, it's just like a person who has gone into a cave with the idea, very inspired, that I will attain liberation, do nothing. But all that he does is thinks of his worldly pleasure that he left behind. The subtle point is, don't run. If you run to the caves, you are maintaining that negativity in your unconscious. So if you live your life in a profound way with integral yoga, you turn your mind positive, bring the state of purity in your mind. If you have done so, even in your house, even in your room, even in your bathtub, there will flow the Ganges water. That's the profound ideal. भय काम बस जोगी से तापस पावरनि को की को कहे देखहि चराचर नारी मय जे ब्रह्ममय देखत रहे. Even great yogis, great ascetics became overpowered by Kama. What to speak of ordinary people? That story has gone on from ancient times. Illustrations of great personalities, Vishwamitra, how he suddenly fell from his. All that is to a simple reality that in order to attain liberation, you have to fight these temptations. As long as there is subtle desire exists, liberation will not be possible. They had gone to practice their austerity to see the world Brahmamaya. All is Brahman. But they ended up seeing Naribaya. Literal meaning, all are women. But I have also given you deeper meaning. When we say woman, refers to Stri, triad. All are drawn to a type of experience which requires three defaults. When you dream, the dream subject is not real. The dream world is not real. The interacting experience of pleasure and pain is not real. That defect, three types, is called Stri. And if you are defectless, you are called Purusha. So there is only two, that Purusha and Prakriti, Purusha and Stri. Stri is negated, Purusha signs. Abala below kahin Purushamay. And women see the entire world like full of young people. And men seeing the world full of women. Dvidanda bhari brahmanda bhitar kama krita kautukayam. In a very short time, this strange show began to develop in the world. Dhari na kahu dheer, dhari na kahu dheer, sabke mana manasij hare. Everyone lost their patience. And the minds of all became dominated by Kama. Je rakhe raghubir, te ubare te hi kalamahu. One little exception, Tulsi adds. But those who were protected by Rama, they remain untouched. Even in that condition when Kama dominated the whole world. So it was not a total loss. Ubhay dhari as kautuk bhayau, jo lagi kamu sambhu pahingayau. In a very short time, all this manifested until Kama reached Shiva. And coming close to Shiva, Kama became terrified. The moment Kama was terrified, all the trouble that we described in the world suddenly disappeared. Peace and harmony was restored everywhere. This is a storyline, just to give you an understanding. If Kama is not dominating the minds of people, the immense peace begins to surge everywhere. Bhaye turat sab jeev sukhare, jimi mad utarib gaye mataware. All the souls became very happy, just like one who has become intoxicated by drink. Once the intoxication wanes, moves away, normality is restored. So people became normal. Must realize the word normal is same as nirmal. Seeing Rudra, Rudra term is that aspect of God that strikes terror in the heart of the evil. That's called Rudra. When Rudra grows within, Rudra unfolds in your heart, then all the negative qualities within you, they become terrified. Just like you have brought a tiger and all the pets in your house are under terror. These descriptions are given, attribute of Shiva. He is called Duradharsh, who cannot be defeated by anyone. Durgam, who cannot be understood by an ordinary intellect. Inaccessible. He is Bhagavan. Bhagavan term, one who is endowed with 6 great attributes known as Bhagas. Infinite Aishwarya, infinite lordliness, infinite dharma, infinite virtue, infinite yasha. Yasha is fame, glory. Infinite Shri, infinite wealth. Infinite Jnana, wisdom. Infinite Vairagya, dispassion. When these qualities develop in your soul, not in ordinary degree, but in infinite measure, God has fully blossomed in your heart. फिरत लाज कछु करी नहीं जाई, मरण उठानी मन रचसी उपाई. Now Kama couldn't run away, felt ashamed for running away, and he became fully convinced that he is going to die, and he was ready for it. In a storyline, that gives you a whole spicy story. Subtle point, in ordinary type of spiritual movement, Kama strikes a person and you can conquer Kama for a while, but Kama is alive, hiding somewhere. But in this confrontation, Kama has come to know that there is nowhere to hide now. That turns the attention to different stages of vasanas. Because hiding state of any evil in you is in your subtle desires called vasana. And vasana can be supta vasana. In children, it is dormant. This is called avastha, supta avastha. Tanu avastha, those who are in ashrams and have gone through a lot of sadhana, there comes a time when vasana becomes so attenuated that there comes an idea, I have attained the highest. But it is not really so. You bring the person to provocative situations and the vasanas will arise. They're described like snakes put in refrigerator. Can handle them like a rope. But give a little warm milk to it and put it near your mouth and you are finished. The next type of vasana is called vichinna. Vichinna means you go on holding positive and negative vasanas. With the healthy state is the negative must move away. Keep only the positive. Just like you are keeping the house clean, then keep the dirt completely out. But then there is another device. You have to prepare your house for a party. And you don't have time to do all that, then hide it under the rug. That's called vichinna-avastha. And the examples are all over the world. Vichinna-avastha people belong to what society considers highly cultured, noble people. Because only in provocation they will lose their goodness. But then there are another type of people called udara. Udara means so extended that they themselves don't know it. You are angry, eyes are red, and ears have become sharp. And teeth are shining out of your lips. You dare not tell the person you are angry. And if you say, the person will say, how dare you? I am the master of anger. This is my righteous wrath. These are different vasanas. But the ideal state is dagdha bijavastha, dagdhavastha. When you attain enlightenment, all these vasanas burn up. Burn up means the vasanas are there, but they are ineffective. You have still certain stages of anger, hate, annoyance, but they are not creating new karmas. They are described like toasted popcorns. You watch the drama, go on eating your popcorn. Those corns cannot be sown. So once you eat up your karmas, new karmas are not waiting for you. If you come to that stage of vasana, you have attained the enlightenment, highest. So that's Maranuthani manrachasi upai. Kama has inwardly determined to die. That means Vasana is determined to come to the state of Dagdhavastha. Pragatesi turatar suruchira sidritu raja kusumita navataru raji visa viraja. And immediately he gives a final attack. He created a spring season with wondrous trees flourishing before that setting. And there is a whole description of the whole world changed immediately when Kama began to strike against Shiva. There is the entire, this again is giving you a profounder understanding. When you are ready to rise beyond limitations, the world of limitations as if opens the entire range before your eyes. And you put them all swaha. And with this I will conclude. Om Shri Ramaya Namah, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Triambakam Yamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam. Urvarukmo Bandhanan. Mrityor Mukshiyama Amrita. Om Shanti Shanti. That's good.